Hello everyone, my name is Dimitri and I am your guide to underrated attractions around the world. I am now in Alnwick. It's a small town in the north of England which is famous for its garden, especially for its poison garden. I know there are plenty of videos about this amazing place, but I decided to make my own, with my own comments as well. So let's get started. In 1996, Sir Ralph Percy became Duke of Northumberland and took possession of the Alnwick Castle and of the gardens in the neighbourhood. Since these gardens didn't look well, the Duke asked his wife Jane Percy to change them somehow. Excellent landscape designers were hired, millions of pounds were spent, and today these flowers, tunnels and fountains attract millions of tourists every year. But there is one place which, in my opinion, is the main tourist magnet here, the Alnwick Poison Garden. It's this small area. This is the view from above. But why did the Duchess decide to collect in this place so many poisonous plants? About 100, to be more precise. Well, she thought such a weird collection would interest children and make them learn more about nature. And she was totally right. The only thing is that not only children, but thousands of adults are coming every day to see this amazing place as well. Apart from the poison garden, I will show you a couple of interesting places in the neighborhood. And you will see also how often you can meet this dangerous vegetation in everyday life. So, how do these plants kill? Well, the majority of them can kill you only if you eat some parts, leaves, berries, roots. I know what you're thinking, who and why would eat some unknown plants? Well, I'm gonna give you some reasons why plant poisoning is a very underestimated problem. Reason number 1. Children, whilst playing in parks or gardens, just out of curiosity can try some potentially poisonous berries. Reason number 2. Some plants are extremely poisonous, and if you touch them and then handle your food, you can get into a hospital. Reason number 3. Sometimes you can confuse a normal plant with a toxic one. That happens, for example, when people confuse daffodil and onion bulbs. To be fair, I can give you dozens of reasons, but let me tell the last and the most important one. Some plants are dangerous not only to eat or smell, but even to touch. Like these yellow flowers. This is Ruta graveolens. If you touch it, your skin is gonna become very sensitive to sunlight, and you can get very bad blisters. There is one more plant in the garden with the same phototoxic effect. I'll tell you about it later. And now let me start our excursion with the plants which are not toxic, but very special. Like very special. The Duchess even achieved special permission from the government to grow them here. I think you know already what kind of plants do I mean. Yes, those are the cannabis and his colleague, the opium poppy. There is also this plant, khat, which is planted in Africa and some Arabic countries. The locals chew its leaves to get the right mood, like those Latin Americans chewing coca leaves. By the way, in Alnwick Gardens, allegedly there is coca, but I couldn't find it. This vegetation, Phytolacca, Cassandra and Salvia divinorum grow in Mexico, and the indigenous people not only chew their leaves, but also make tea from them, or even smoke them, in a pipe. Interesting fact. This plant, Salvia divinorum, doesn't have seeds at all, and all the plants existing nowadays are propagated by cuttings. Let's continue with the poisonous plants. And the first one is Atropa belladonna. In Italian, belladonna means beautiful woman, because the ladies in medieval Europe used the juice of belladonna's berries in order to dilate their pupils. Dilated pupils were considered to be handsome at that time. The second one is the exotic brugmansia. It's situated by the end of the garden along with the third one, woodland tobacco. You can see next to this tobacco another plant, hemlock water dropwort. Here starts the family Apiaceae. You know, it's a bit hard for me to pronounce these Latin names. The species of this family are deadly poisonous, like poison hemlock or water hemlock, or the most dangerous plant in the UK, Heracleum mantegatum or giant hogweed. This one, as you can see, it's a real giant. This specimen is not very tall. However, this species can reach heights up to 5 meters, and sometimes even more. Do you remember I told you about phototoxic plants? This is the case with the hogweed. If you accidentally touch the stem or the leaves, the sap can cause severe blisters on your skin. They can last months, and your skin can remain sensitive to sunlight up to several years. There is one more plant closely related to this, Heracleum sosnovsky. Just take a look at this massive Heracleum sosnovsky species in Russia. The unofficial nickname of this plant in the Soviet Union, and I think in Poland as well, was Stalin's revenge. That was because the Soviets started planting it in Eastern Europe and in the Soviet Union as well during Stalin's rule, in order to feed the cattle. After Stalin's death, the people wanted to get rid of this plant, because they understood how poisonous that is. However, the plant had taken already vast territories. Frankly speaking, I was really keen to see these flowers, and I'm very happy I can show you them. This is monkshood, or aconitum. That's the Latin name. Apart from being beautiful, this gentle blue flower is one of the most poisonous plants in the world. Which one is the most poisonous, I'll tell you a bit later. How dangerous this plant can be, you can judge from this BBC article which says that British farmer died after handling aconitum. The person who knows this plant really well and could tell us more is Mrs. Lakhvir Singh. Unfortunately, she's now in prison for murdering her boyfriend and his new girlfriend with Indian poison bic. The main ingredient for the poison is Aconitum ferox, and this vegetation is native to India. That's why Mrs. Singh went there, to get these deadly flowers. She is here on our, let's call it, wall of disgrace, with other not very respected people. Graham Young. He used to love to make tea for his relatives, with a drop of belladonna in it. Harold Shipman, another cute person. He became famous as Dr. Death, because he injected his patients with a lethal dose of painkiller. And here's Georgy Markov, a Bulgarian dissident who was not a killer himself, but was killed in London in a very peculiar way. The KGB created for the Bulgarian intelligence service special bullets with poison inside. Those bullets were supposed to be fired not from a gun but from a special umbrella. After fired, the bullets get in the body of the victim, and after the poison gets in the blood, it's very hard to identify the cause of death. Especially with the poison that was used in this case. It's called ricin and it's found naturally in our next plant. This is Ricinus communis, the most poisonous plant in the world, according to the Guinness Book of Records. Ricinus is part of the spurge family to which belongs the mancinel tree. The white sap of this tree is used by Native Americans to poison their arrows whilst hunting. Unfortunately, neither this tree nor the strychnine tree, which allegedly should be in the garden, could not be found here. I asked about that one of the employees. Ricinus has very weird, tick-shaped seeds. Let's compare the ticks with the seeds. The ticks on the left. Despite the toxicity of this plant, the seeds are source of very useful castor oil, and the flowers have also a very weird shape. I think they look a bit like flames. Now I'm in Regent's Park in London. A couple of weeks ago I found here a very interesting plant which I think I saw in the poison garden in Alnwick. Let's take a look. Maybe you can recognize this amazing plant here. Just look at these gorgeous leaves. They've got very weird shape. I think you know already which plant do I mean. That is Ricinus communis. I'm going to show you closer the flowers. This plant has got very specific and very, in my opinion, flowers. I ordered from eBay 4 plants from the buttercup family. You can see their Latin name on the screen. I can't pronounce it, I'm afraid. All of them are very poisonous, but I planted them because they've got very beautiful flowers. This is Helleborus orientalis, and next to him is Ectea simplex. On the right is Racunculus acris. And the last one is Helleborus orientalis again, but with very unusual green flowers. The plant hasn't bloomed yet, but when it's gonna bloom, the flowers should look like this. You can buy on eBay even deadly aconitum. If you arrive to Alnwick specifically for the poison garden, and especially if you arrive from a long distance and you think that to visit this tiny garden is not worth it, well, I've got good news for you. Aside from the poison garden, there are a couple of other interesting places here. The first one is of course the rest of the garden, with all those tunnels, flowers and fountains. I've made a separate video with virtual excursion around the gardens, including the poison garden, with beautiful classical music as a cover. So you can make a virtual tour yourself following the link in the description below. The second place is for Harry Potter fans. It's called Alnwick Castle, and here were filmed some of the most famous scenes from Harry Potter movie, like the broomstick flying lessons. The castle is really unique. Unfortunately, I can't show you what's inside, because I was not allowed to film inside the premises. And the third place, which I personally find very creative, is this treehouse restaurant in front of the entrance or of the exit. I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, I would be grateful if you hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. Thanks for watching and good luck.